Good afternoon, everybody. How are you on this beautiful Tuesday? I'm actually recording my video outside today on my back deck because I wanted to get some sun before we start getting into our autumn months fully. How are all of you? Have you been creating? I hope so. So, I'm going to just let this one flow how I'd like it to. Last week, I made a video on my Instagram, a quick one, where I talked about how there were no rules to creating, no rules to manifesting, no rules. And this is true. This is true. You can create in any way that you want. For those that follow me, you know that I am an artist and I also like to write. Okay, those are two things that I have been doing since I was a little girl. They are my medicine. Okay, being able to create is my medicine. It helps me to get out my feelings, get out everything that's going on inside my crazy mind, and to express everything that has happened to me in my life. Whatever traumas that have been stored, whatever programming, all of that has been expressed through my creative endeavors. And I still do every single day when I'm not busy doing other stuff, because I do get very busy and very caught up with other things. So, what I wanted to elaborate on is the idea of no rules, and also something else which may help you if you're trying to understand and you have a lot of information coming at you about the different tools that you can use. Just like an artist with their paintbrush, just like a musician with their guitar, a piano, just like the carpenter who is building, a home, or someone who is carving a statue. It doesn't really matter what that is. They are using a tool. And I'm going to liken this to esoteric concepts and knowledge, occult knowledge in general. Okay. So here's where I want to start. Let's take a look at astrology, for example. Astrology is a very good way at pinpointing where your current, I want to call it like your frame, your current, I think Aaron Dowdy uses that term on his YouTube. He calls it your frame, how to be in your frame. Okay. However, this is limiting. This is limiting. Astrology itself feels limiting. You can actually utilize astrology to master yourself. If you study your chart and you study where you're at, you're going to find what your current character or your current manufactured human, okay, let's put it like that, is at. Your point in time. Okay. And these tools are not meant to be the end all. They're not meant to be the end all to describe your experience and to keep it that way. You can use these tools of astrology to actually master yourself and transcend the points of where they are. So, for example, each astrological sign has its own correspondence to elements, to specific gods, to specific ways of being, and specific personalities. So if we take a look at Aries, for example, what would you say Aries represents? War, okay, fire, strength, resolve. These are all aspects. They are all personality traits. They are all traits. And every single one of these traits that astrology has, that you were born under, the sign you were born under, do matter. Okay, they do matter, including all other forms of astrology. All other forms of astrology. There is not one that some will disagree with me. There is not one that is more correct or incorrect, and here's why. In this reality, we have cemented a belief system around astrology. And this belief system that is in place, a lot of people use it to navigate reality. They use astrology to navigate understanding of themselves and where they're at. But once you actually have an understanding here of where you're at, you can transcend that. Once you fully understand what has been placed upon you, what you have traits, okay, what traits have been chosen for you to understand about yourself. Now, a lot of people say that the rising sign, right, in Western astrology, the rising sign is your pathway. It's like the one you're supposed to follow. Like, say, if you have a Leo sign there, you're going to be following a pathway that has to do with the aspects of the sign of Leo, and that is when you feel like you are following your character traits to a T. A lot of people that I've done astrological readings for, or even studying for myself for those people that I love, there will be past markers of things that they've actually done in their astrological chart. It will even say how their family was or how they grew up. Okay. Now, why is this important when it comes to breaking the rules? Because once you understand these aspects of yourself, you can go outside of them. You can transmute them. And what does this look like? We hear a lot of people talking about that, okay? And I've even said it a couple times. Transmute it, alchemize it. But what does this look like when it comes to astrology? I'm going to give you a real simple answer, and it's something that I've been talking about. Perspective shifts change your frequency. They change your vibratory rate, okay? They change how you appear within the reality, or how your hologram appears, so to speak. They change the character that you're playing. Even actors and actresses know this. They know how to step into different personalities. They've mastered, a lot of them, especially the really good ones, have mastered this reality, at least how to look in it, how to act. Their holograms are very strong, okay? They know how to access different ways of being, and they have a proclivity to doing that. It takes a certain amount of creativity to be able to change who you are and feel that that is who you are. And then we have actors who end up getting so deep within it, they hurt themselves or even commit suicide because they have transmuted their personality. They have changed their reality. They have changed how they perceive reality by stepping within the eyes of a character. You can do this every day. You can change who you're being every day. You want to be the lover, you want to be the soldier, you want to be the you want to be the kung fu person, okay? All of this stuff. You do want to experience even having uh, testing to see if you have a proclivity towards, say, mountain climbing, right? You can transcend the limitations that you have on a daily basis. It just depends on how far you want to go. And we always have people say, when we're kids, believe in yourself. They say, believe in yourself, believe in who you are. And I'm going to put that one step further and say, believe that you can be whoever you want to be. So a perception shift changes your frequency. And what do I mean by this? We have a lot of the manifestation community talking about how to change your frequency by raising okay? Raising your vibration, raising your frequency, raising all of that, okay? And they say that, oh well, no, you can't manifest unless your frequency is high. That's not true, because every second of the day, and I'll keep reiterating this, you are creating. You are creating your reality as the actor, the director. Whatever you choose, whatever it is that you choose that you want to do or that you want to be. And you can transcend those limitations by having a simple perspective shift within the reality itself. Now, 3D, a lot of people say 3D is like really, really limiting. Okay, it does have its rules when it comes to certain perspective shifts. There are things that happen, but they do happen. They can happen. You can shift your personality. You can shift your perspective of how you respond to situations. Now, here's a test. Here's something that you can do to actually test this out. I'm going to give you something to work with here. Okay. That makes you start breaking out of your box. Okay. Breaking out of the mold and getting out of the whole, like, watching videos forever. Okay. So, not long ago, I had an argument with someone. And I walked away from the argument kind of like, this person was wrong. Okay, everything they said was wrong. I didn't like how they approached me. I didn't appreciate what it was they were saying. I had a lot of systems in place that were fighting this person. A lot of code, so to speak, in place in my head that I was like, okay, obviously they're in the wrong here, and I deserve an apology. So I took myself downstairs into my sunroom, and I basically sat there and I emptied my mind of my perception of the situation, the perception of the argument that was happening in front of me and how I looked at it. And then I literally took myself and put myself in the other person's shoes. I listened again in my head to how they sounded. I heard them apologizing to me for what it was they said, saying it was a miscommunication. And then I put myself in the other person's shoes. And I basically said, oh, so that's why they argued with me. I know exactly how they feel. I know exactly what it was that was going on. And then I forgave them in my mind. Okay. I had a conversation in my mind and that I watched from above where they were apologizing to me. And I apologized to them and told them, oh, you know what? I really understand that. And instantly, resistance to the situation shifted and my frequency changed. It changed almost in a matter of 30 minutes of just sitting there, not thinking and obsessing about what had just happened, but instead flipping the script. Okay, flipping the script to something completely different. And that was me being understanding. So 10 minutes later, what happens? I'm thinking, okay, I need to apologize. I need to make this right. No, I get an apology. I get told that they were in the wrong and they didn't want to upset me any further about it, and they understood where I was coming from. Instant perspective shift. It's a very simple tool. It's a very simple tool, and this can be used all the time. I've used it all the time, even in interactions with people when I go like out in public. I see the part they're playing, and then I go, oh, okay, this is what's actually happening here. So how can I shift this? Okay, so this is what they think, and then the person changes. Okay, they change. The reality shifts, and it's actually very clever. It's very clever, but so simple. And we've overcomplicated it by oversaturating ourselves with affirmations, which I'm not against affirmations, okay? And here's why. A lot of people struggle with the subconscious programming. And what it can do, affirmations can do, is actually help you to shift your perspective. It can help you change your mind. For some people, it works really, really well. And this is me dialing it back to the fact that you can do this any way you want. Your rules are what you make it, because ultimately the power of this is you. It's entirely you. Now, if we look at divination, if we look at tarot, and this is why I suggest people to get at least an oracle deck or a tarot deck as a tool. These not only help you to access your subconscious, but also the higher self, okay, the higher levels of consciousness. Because really, your consciousness level is where you're at. You're going to be able to see with the cards how your reality is currently being dictated. And in our current matrix system, we have what's called symbology. Okay, a lot of you may understand symbology already with what I'm talking about, including with the runes and stuff. All of the ancients put all of these tools out there for us to look at and use them to understand our reality. They were not created just willy-nilly. Occult knowledge, occult books, things like that, all of the symbolism within them were not created just to be there. They were there because every time you internalize, well, I don't want to say internalize, but more like when you go through the internal process after you learn some kind of hidden knowledge, either through a book, and this is just talking about the current matrix, okay, system that we have. Every time you learn a piece of knowledge, or you learn a piece of something hidden, or you have some kind of like aha epiphany about something that you've read and you've been utilizing your wisdom, okay, to observe the belief or observe what you're reading in the book, and you're able to then go, okay, so this is how it works in reality. This is what it has to do with what I've been experiencing. As soon as you've done that, you have a perspective shift. It starts to change your frequency. It starts to change how you look at reality. And the symbology is it's a system. It's a coded language system that gives you keys to accessing not only the unconscious, but the codes, okay, the codes of this matrix system. We have been neutered, okay, when I say this, by having less access to this stuff in the past, and having destruction and killing each other and having cycles and processions and all these things, they have created neutered humans in the brain. It's made our power less, but you can actually use everything that I'm talking about, all these things that I'm talking about, you can use to your advantage. And that's just one way of doing it. Because mastering the mind is what I'm talking about here. The mind is a tool. It's a tool that is the best tool you're ever going to have. It is your being, okay, coming from the mind. It's how you create matter. What you create matters, okay? It matters. So to create matter, you have to have a tool that has a lot of access to be able to understand perspectives. And the great masters, the great alchemists, the great magicians, sorcerers, whatever, thaumaturgists, they all knew this. They all knew this about reality. Being able to even use magic has its applications to shifting your reality. And I'll talk in another video my perspectives on what I think magic, what we utilize the word magic, what it actually is, in this matrix, in this game system that we're in. Okay. I'll talk about that in another video. So someone might ask, what is the purpose? What is the point of having all this information? What is the point of, taking a look at my inner core versus my mind versus knowledge? Because there are applications in the external reality that you can learn to navigate the changes and the manifesting easier, and to master yourself so that you can actually rise above, right? Your signs. Then you can go planetary. You can keep going. You can keep expanding. You keep expanding. And it's kind of like you go within, and then suddenly truths start making their way to you, and it starts helping you to recode the brain. The brain is very, like, neuroplasticity is very important, and being able to recode the brain so that you can maneuver this reality, maneuver this game a lot easier. You can change and be and have and do and experience whatever you want, because that's imagination. And to access the purest, how do I want to put this? Imagination is the purest and highest form of communication with source and its reflections. We are but reflections, accessing more fragmented reflections of a reality that source that is constantly creating itself. And source itself, through us, is accessing these aspects of experience. Does that make sense? So having archetypes, they all matter. They all matter because you can access them. You can change them. You can change yourself, say from, a Queen of Wands to a King of Swords in the reverse in a matter of seconds. Like, do you know how powerful that is? You can go from being this really hot, confident, out there person to being completely cold and logical and overly logical. People can do it in an instant because you are accessing the reflections in this reality. You're accessing the creations that source has here for us. And then you eventually expand. You go larger, 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 larger. Okay. Wider, deeper. And to the point where you realize that you hear the sirens, to the point where you realize that you are actually the center point. So yeah, I hope this makes sense for some of you guys. Years of studying tarot. Okay. Tarot is so important to me, and it has been a tool that has helped me to navigate a lot of the insanity that happens not only in this reality, but within. It's helped me to center myself. So one other thing you can do, and then I'm going to let you all go. One other thing that you can do with tarot is, if you study a card, like if you pull a card and, you ask, where am I at? You ask your higher self, where am I at? Who am I being right now? Who am I being? and you'll get your answers, and they'll align. They'll most likely align. And you'll see who you're being. And then you can ask, how can I shift this to align more with who I am, with who I would like to be, or what I would like to see manifest, what I would like to see myself creating, what actions, what internal actions do I need? Do I need to do nothing? Do I need to do something? Do I just need to change my mind a bit? So all of those tools are there for you to use. They're all there for you to use. You don't have to if you don't want to. You can keep it as simple as I am the I am, and everything I desire unfolds precisely how I want it. Where's the fun in that? Sometimes you got to have fun. Okay, you got to have fun uh, understanding that all of this information is there for us to shape this reality, or we're going to keep continually getting dumber and continually, not realizing our own power, because our own power is more than you think. And anyone who has a brain and a heart to use this information I'm talking about, you'll understand what I'm saying when I say that it's down to you and how you see yourself. It's down to you and how you perceive yourself and others. The brain is not meant to just fester. I can't believe that I actually have met people in this day and age who have told me, oh no, I don't read. Okay, so how are you, like, what do you know? Like, and I'm not saying everything is about just information or about just reading. It's about coding your brain, because otherwise you're going to believe everything everybody says. You're not going to have a source of reference for your internal experience esoterically. You have to create a center point for a point of reference, your director's chair, so to speak. You have to have that. You have to have your director's chair, or else you are letting everybody else direct you. What is your point of reference, right? What is my point of reference? What is anyone's point of reference? It has to be somewhere. There has to be something that aligns with what it is that you want to create. Otherwise, you're just fucking around. Or you're just, things are unfolding and there's no understanding, I guess, is what I want to say. I mean, I can't get past that. Like, I'm trying to learn to accept that there are some people that just literally, they say, I'm not interested in reading or information. Okay. Okay. I guess I'll just lobotomize myself. Anyway. All right, you guys. So that's what I wanted to talk about. Using the tools that you have to your disposal can actually be very beneficial in your current experience. It can be very beneficial, but it is meant to overcome so that you can become one with your creator status, so that you can actually say, okay, so how do I get through this hurdle? What is the next level? What is the next level for me? And it doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be hard. We often hear people say, oh, you got to do the work. Well, yeah, there is some work involved, otherwise we have what I would like to call well, hell, the lobotomized manifester. That's just someone who has created a belief system that they are a manifester, and everything they say, goes, and that's that. And then things are still just, I've seen this happen. Things are still just actually happening at a person, or they think things are happening at them, and then they just change their perspective. They shift their perspective, but stuff is still happening at them, and they yo-yo. All right, the mastery of the mind is important, because otherwise you yo-yo all the time, and it'll feel like your external is actually controlling what you're trying to create. You gotta have a point of reference, you know, or not. The choice is yours entirely. Okay, that's it for today. I hope that all of you are doing well. I want to say thanks again to those of you who have been emailing me and I've had some interesting discussions via email. Feel free to reach out to me via email, anybody who's interested in either working with me or talking with me. I am helping more than one person right now to create their reality in a way they seem fit, and they are getting results. Okay, they're getting real tangible results, including jobs and lovers and things like that, because and a lot of times they don't believe it themselves still when it happens, and it happens quicker than they think, because each person, when I talk with them, I take into account the whole being of who they are, the whole big 360 version of who they are, including their astrological alignments. Because I'll tell you this much, something I've learned: your astrological alignments may actually help you to magically manifest in a different way than all these other people are talking about is the one way to do it. Your signs and where you are in the planetary alignment can actually be a part of your manifesting process. And then you can step into your God presence. Okay, you can start moving beyond that into the God presence, where eventually those things won't even matter. The astrological alignments won't even matter. But some people, they can't jump that fast. For example, someone that I've been helping manifest for a long time, she's a friend of mine. She has Aries placements, okay? Her reality, she flows through her reality easier by taking action. Taking action manifests things for her quicker. And I've learned other ways, other methods, for myself with my fire in my chart, with my Sagittarius. I've got Jupiter in Sagittarius. I've been able to utilize specific ways of being to understand myself better, so that I get through hurdles a lot easier. Understanding yourself is important on all levels, all levels, all levels. You know, then you'll keep rising, so to speak. You'll keep expanding the more that you do understand who you are. I will see you guys later. I hope that you enjoyed this little talk outside on my back deck here, and the noises weren't too hardcore for you. Got another quick reading coming out today. Always, the information is down below in my description box. That is where you can find me, where you can find my info and reach out to me, whoever you are. I've worked with famous people, non-famous people, people who are poor, people who are homeless. I've worked with singers. I've worked with dancers. I've worked with artists. I've worked, all the types. It takes all types. People who just work construction, people who work at McDonald's. I have known a whole bunch of different people. So whoever you are or whatever it is you do, we can work something out. If you want help on any of these esoteric topics, I am there to talk with you, even just create a dialogue if you'd like. And I have a little surprise coming up for you guys for this fall, since it's my favorite time of year. I am going to be giving away some free readings, okay, in October. So pay attention to that if you're looking for a reading and you've never had one before, or maybe you can't afford one right now. I would love to read for you. All right? Take it easy. I'll see you soon.